Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to Outfit Wars Season 1 on the Nexus. You are watching the Round 3 qualifiers, RCN6 versus BWAE, it's Recon Team 6 versus BWAE. This is the second highest seeded match. Both of these teams have gone 2-0 so far and have pretty high qualifying points as well. It's going to be a fantastic match. My name is Qaztar, here with my co-caster Prozan. Prozan, how you doing?
Doing great. This is going to be a great match.
Oh, it's going to be such a good match. I'm very excited about this match, but before we get all into it, real quick, on the technical side of things, I've been having power outages in my area, as I said before to you pros, and so maybe this stream cuts out. It shouldn't, but maybe it cuts out for a few minutes. If so, don't worry. Also, I'm going to have to fiddle with the overlay a little bit because the teams are not on the colors that I thought they were going to be, so I'll have to do some switching around as we get into the match here, just before we look at the warp gates. But before we go into any talking about these teams, and we're going to be talking about these teams, let me tell you, let's first do a quick recap of some of the Nexus Outfit Wars Season 1 rules and the format and the bases and how it all looks. So I'm going to be playing sort of the bases in the background here as we talk about it. So this is a red team versus a blue team. This is an alpha versus an omega team. There are no bastions or colossi allowed on this map. However, all other war assets are allowed. So you're going to see anvils, you're going to see steel rain, you're going to see orbital strikes, you're going to see facility modules, you're going to see all that good stuff. Both sides start on balanced warp gates and on balanced sides. The map is mostly symmetrical, although some of the terrain isn't exactly. And it's a race to cap the neutral bases in the middle, which you're looking at right now on your screen. That's Bitter Gorge, that's Granite Head Reactor, and the SATCOM hub, I think. It's 48v48, so it's one platoon versus one platoon. It's combined arms, so all vehicles are allowed. However, because there is no construction, ants are mostly useless, but everything else is usable, except for, of course, Colossus and Bastions. The teams are going to get a 20-minute prep phase, which they are in right now. They're moving through that. And then it is a 45-minute game. And the two ways that you win is either you have the most territories at the end, you control all the territories, or most of the territories when that 45-minute timer runs out. And we've got a lovely overlay by Verunda here for you today that'll hopefully be showing you the territory's current standing, so you can keep track of it yourself. Or they take one of these nexus bases that you're seeing on your screen right now. If you take the opponent's nexus base, then you win the entire match instantaneously. The stream is also going to be on a 1-minute delay here, as we are wanting to prevent any potential foul play, even if we don't think any of these teams are remotely capable or desiring to do that. We just want to make absolutely sure that we're not enabling anything like that without any probability of that. Alrighty. Let's toss on back to the pre-match here to do a little bit of analysis on these teams. So, I reached out to both these teams. I reached out to the leaders of both these teams. That's Bolters, aka Dubness of BWAE, and Mr. Twister of RCN6 for a little summary of their outfits. You know, we talk a lot about how we see these outfits, how the community maybe sees these outfits, but I wanted to sort of get a viewpoint on how these outfits see themselves. And so I want to sort of go one by one real quick and talk about these outfits. We're also going to be interviewing both of these leaders after this match as well, which should be fantastic. But let's start off with BWAE here. So, I messaged Dubness Bolters, and he gave me a short and sweet description, which I thought was fantastic. He said, BWAE is Emerald's premier training outfit, which aims to provide the right environment and resources to allow someone to improve at their infantry game. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, I guess, at least personally, when I think of BWAE, I think of a little bit more, but Prozan, what are you thinking about BWAE? How have you seen BWAE perform? What do you think of them as an outfit?
Well, I mean, as a Vanu main, same as you, I am very intimately familiar with BWAE. They're kind of known on the VS scene in Emerald as one of the, if not the high skill outfits, especially the infantry play.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I think they're going to perform very well, regardless of how humble he wants to appear.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think it's good that they have kind of a straightforward mission statement. They're not trying to be something crazy, even if they are. But BWAE has a great reputation, as you've said. They are well known for their skill and for their competitive ability. And I actually had the opportunity just the other day. I just sort of randomly ended up inside of a BWAE platoon, and I was like, hey, I'll join with you guys, and they were kind enough to let me run with them for their ops. And I mean, I don't run with competitive people that often, so already that was, you know, kind of a shock. But I would say they've got skills, and for me, I saw the strengths both in when I was running with them and from previous matches, especially one against BKTZ, where their speed is crazy and their resilience. They keep it at high octane the entire way through. They don't slow down whatsoever. They've got great stamina. That's definitely what I felt, I guess. in running with them and from those past matches. Did you see some of those past matches of BWAE?
Yep. I mean, their ability to transition from base to base and from fight to fight is impressive.
Yeah, definitely. And they've got that. I think it's from their experience. They've done a lot of Jaeger. Dubnus, their leader, very well versed in how to plan this stuff and how to keep his people going. So I think they are a very formidable team in this entire tournament.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing that you just noted, that they're one of the outfits that's the most comfortable in Jaeger type events like this, where it's 1v1.
Right.
It's not the typical planet-side experience.
Mhm. Yeah, totally. And I think that lends them a lot because they keep their nerve about them, I think. Um, Alrighty, so now for RCN6, Recon Team 6. So I personally, and I know you as well, Prozan, didn't know too much about RCN6 beforehand, other than that they've got a kick-ass name, because Recon Team 6 is dope, and also that they did well in previous Alpha Wars, that they've clearly got a pretty strong team, being here 2-0. But when I DM Mr. Twister, I got a fantastic description of what RCN6 is overall. And it's definitely too long for me to read it word for word, but I'm just going to sort of go through the basics of it. So, first things first, they were founded in 2013. They were a splinter outfit from a separate outfit called Phoenix Battalion. And they were looking for a less Zergfit style of play, so they were trying to do a little bit more coordinated type of stuff. And over the years, their core members have mastered many different styles of play, clearly aircraft, which we're going to be talking about soon, but they've mastered all kinds of play. And they always sort of admired the other try-hard elite fits that were out there. So they tried to sort of emulate them and try to go for that same thing. But it was a struggle, and they had some early scrims on Jaeger that apparently didn't go so well. And then over time, as happens to many outfits, it sort of went a little bit dormant, inactivity sort of set in, and then the whole outfit sort of ground to a bit of a halt. And Mr. Twister says that then, a couple years back, he was watching the first season of Outfit Wars. He was thinking about how would RC6 do if we had participated in this. And then when the second season rolled around, he was like, you know what, screw it. Let's see if we can get together a team. So he sort of called back the core members of RCN6 for one last job. He sent out a mass DM, and they managed to do it. They fielded an almost full platoon, and made it to the Silver Championships. And he says it was like an emotional experience getting together with that old group and playing PlanetSide again. And he says that when he saw there was another Outfit Wars this year, he couldn't help but sort of run it back. So this year, their team is an amalgamation of not just RC6. It's also SOVK, ZAPS, HSTL, IMRE, and also some Hour people as well. And he says he's not sure what's going to happen to the team after this year, but he's making lots of new friends and he's enjoying it. And they've been doing lots of training on Jaeger to prepare themselves for these matches, and they're hoping that they can prove themselves against BWAE in today's match. So based off of that, and also I know you've been seeing these, watching some of the RCN6 matches that they had early in this Alpha Wars Prozan. What are your thoughts on RCN6 for today?
I mean, like you, I didn't know a ton about them before going into this, but watching their past matches, very, very good gameplay.
Yeah.
Like, they have some quality Reaver pilots. They are really fast on transitions going from base to base, and especially in their match against Inlux, they maintain like simultaneous pressure along the whole front. And if they can maintain that kind of quality in this match, I think BWAE is going to have rough competition.
100%. I mean, those air balls were nuts. They were absolutely nuts in the previous matches, and we've seen, BWAE has air. There's no doubt about it. But VKTZ also sort of beat BWAE a little bit out in the air. So RCN6, if they've got that strength there and if they utilize it properly, they've definitely got a shot at this match in a big way from that angle. And also, I just have to say real quick, I love the fact that RCN6 came back together for these Alpha Wars matches. I mean, that sort of is exemplifying what Alpha Wars is supposed to do, what the point of Alpha Wars is, and I think that's awesome that they came together and also are, putting together a really competitive team.
Yeah, it's a very inspiring story.
Totally. Alrighty. Well, we're still a couple of minutes out. We're at 4 minutes left on the prep timer. I've got my timer working this time. Fantastic. It was actually my computer's clock that was broken that was making it all messed up. But so I've fixed that, but we got 3 more minutes until we can actually look at these warp gates. We are on a 1 minute delay. We don't want to be looking at the warp gates any sooner than that, just to prevent any kind of foul play. But yeah, let's talk about what strategies we think we're going to see. Are we going to see crazy new stuff out of either of these sides? Do we think we're going to see just tried and true? I don't know. What are you thinking about, I guess, BWAE side of that equation?
I think from BWAE, and probably from both teams, honestly, is with the quality of amount of people that they have and the tactics that they've shown in past Outfit Wars matches, I think this is less going to be us watching two teams innovate and more just watch two teams continue to iterate on established strategies that they have.
Right.
I think there's going to be a lot of air going at it at the start of the game to try to get air superiority, and then I think there's going to be some disgusting point holds throughout
Yeah.
the match.
Totally. Yeah. No, I think you're 100% correct. It's going to be really interesting to see, like, you know, BWAE, I would suppose, you know, I don't know 100% about either of these statements, but I would suppose BWAE's point holding is maybe a tier higher, but RCN6's air is maybe a tier higher than BWAE. So we're going to see, you know, how those different things clash and which I guess comes out on top in the scales of the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I also think that while BWAE might be stronger in point holding, if BWAE loses the air and that point hold gets sky hammered by a bunch of Reavers, it's not going to help. It's
Yeah,
not going to help at all.
that is a very good point. Yeah, there's only so many, there's only so much that a point hold can do, especially with a lot of these points being fairly open. So I'm now on the Nexus. I believe I just fixed the overlay being on the right side, and the overlay should kick in once the match starts. Hopefully, I pray. If it doesn't, then that's not a huge, super big deal. But anyway, yeah. So some of these neutral bases. We watched these openings last time. Prozan, you and I watched 17BR and VKTZ go head to head. Some steel rains right out the gate. Some anvil drops and things like that. Which of those tactics seemed good? I thought the steel rain seemed pretty good, but only if you have no air domination. I don't know if BWAE is really willing to do that.
Yeah, I think the steel rain's a good strategy. Honestly, it would not shock me at some point if an outfit did 2, 3, or 4 steel rains at the start just for the instant getting maxes on point.
Right.
I don't think that's going to happen this match though. I think both of these teams are confident in the air. I think at the very least, BWAE wants to not get sky hammered, so they're going to contest the air, and I think RN6 wants to do the sky hammering, so they're going to be in the air. So I think we're going to see a big air battle, probably over Bitter Gorge.
Yeah, totally. So looking at the RCN6 Warp Gate, this is probably the biggest air fleet I think I've ever seen in an Outfit Wars match, at least. This is like coordinated squads of Reavers, a couple galaxies to get on points, I assume. That is an impressive fleet of RCN6 air. BWAE is going to have a challenge getting through this absolute storm of Reavers. I mean, look at these. Holy mother. What are you seeing on BWAE's side here?
A lot of scythes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you come over here and take a look.
Yeah, this is going to be, holy mother of God. I mean, they've got a couple more gals, I think, than the RCN6 side, but good gravy. This is going to be something.
It was that five galaxies from BWAE? Yeah, that's a lot of galaxies.
Surprising. They can't have that many people in each of them, but I don't know, maybe for the reps as well. All right, we're going to see this start in about 3 seconds here. Oh boy. Alrighty. And are we off? Are we? Pause chat? Match? There it is. Alrighty.
So good luck, have fun's going out in region chat. It's good to see.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty, here come the sides. Overlay might be a little scuffed, it looks like, which is unfortunate. I'll try to update that later and see if that fixes it. Here come these fleets. First clash of Reavers and Scythes over Granite Head, of course, in the middle here. Holy moly. So far, we're getting some hitching, unfortunately, as well. We are getting some of these pauses throughout the match, unfortunately. That is still not fixed, although the devs are looking into it. We got some anvils coming down. Honestly, I'm not seeing a clear winner out of either side here. If anything, it looks like there's a lot of sights still up in the air. But there's a lot of Reavers too. There's a lot of Reavers.
Yeah, these pilots are doing a good job of staying alive.
Definitely.
RCN6 has already ambled in a Sunderer on top of SATCOM, so it looks like they're going for that pseudo tech plant pretty early.
Yeah, definitely. They're going straight for these points. They're on all 3 points over here. RCN6 moving quickly for SATCOM. BWAE looks like they're coming out of this with the air superiority, which is something we were surprised to see, but BWAE did pull an incredible amount of air. Clearly they were looking to direct counter some of this. Although there's definitely still Reavers up, and there's more Reavers coming from the Warp Gate. Actually, there's a lot more Reavers coming from the Warp Gate. It looks like a second wave of RCN6 air, dedicated air, coming in here.
Yeah, looks like they're determined to keep the fight up.
Yeah, definitely. They don't want to let...
And honestly, this is a really good idea from RCN6. A lot of outfits have fought at the start, have lost the initial engagement, and then just said screw it to the air. And so, but putting more pilots in the sky and keeping those sides distracted at the very least is a good play for just the longevity of the match.
Totally, totally. Looks like the overlay did kick in. I'm going to quickly see if I can fix the map, though, because that is kind of the primary thing here. Make sure I've got the correct address. Let's quickly take a look at the in-game stuff happening here real quick. They're on Granite Head. Looks like BWAE's got 2 points on Granite Head. RCN6 trying to hold on to C point here. They are set up in here, but BWAE is starting to breach. And they don't really have any spawns, so it looks like BWAE is going to be clearing through here. Look at that BWAE coordination right there.
However, at SATCOM Hub, there's 27 seconds left on the clock for RCN6. BWAE is not contesting this.
Yeah. Looks like music was maybe a little too high, so I'm turning that down. Apologies. Not bad. Yeah, but looks like Granite Head has... BWAE has it. BWAE looks like they have Granite Head. But yeah, SATCOM Hub is going to go to RCN6 without much of a fight, and nobody really on Bitter Gorge yet, which is interesting. Looks like they really went all in over here. Alrighty. Let me see if I can fix this map now.
Yep, there goes SATCOM in favor of RCN6, so they still have a minute 20 to contest Granite Head if they wanted to. Bitter Gorge is still not swung either way for either team.
Yeah. Alrighty, and now that I think the map should be working. We got still an air fight going on. The air fight's not ending. It looks like both teams are saying, you know what, we want an air presence constantly air. We don't want to ever be getting dominated. I think that makes sense, because that's really when the air comes alive, is when they have no opposition and they can just blast down onto these teams without any problems at all. So we're going to see, yeah, it looks like just SATCOM Hub is in favor of RCN6 right now. And that's one base up for RCN6. Obviously, we're very early days yet, and it's already turning out to be... I doubt we're going to see a warp gate happen, unless something crazy happens here.
Yep, it looks like the RCN6 is not contesting Granite Head. That looks like they're just shifting all in on Bitter Gorge.
Yeah. Yep, let's take a look at what they're doing over here at Bitter Gorge, if they're getting set up, because I imagine... Jeez, these hitches are crazy today. I think we're going to see BWAE come in here and try to stop this cap. We've already got, looks like one squad of BWAE dropping onto B point here, trying to stop the Bitter Gorge.
Yeah, Granite Head just went through for BWAE, so they have a lot of resources just freed up to go to Bitter Gorge.
Yeah, there's going to be definitely BWAE platoons inbound. Sort of a bit of a wall mag rider going on over here. This is...
RCN6 does have all 3 points at Bitter Gorge at the moment, though.
They do. We got a BWAE Sunday set up back here, but it's already down. RCN6 being very ruthlessly efficient with the way that they're doing this. I'm impressed. We do see some sides, though.
On yeah.
Yep. There's that BWAE drop. Yep. Look at this. They're going to start. They're going to set up a side, and then they're just going to push across. Because once you take one of those points, that capture timer jumps. It jumps. So we're going to start pushing towards A, it looks like. Let's see if we can follow this BWAE squad. Here they come. Dispatching a couple RCN6 as they move, and now they're moving on to B point. Looks like BWAE is sort of methodically trying to force RCN6 out of this base. And looks like, I mean, there's definitely still an RCN6 air presence. They're not giving up. But there's a couple sides that are sort of darting down out of the fight to get a couple kills down here on the infantry, which is really cool to see, actually, and really interesting. RCN6 getting back on B point.
Yep, and it looks like both teams have about the same idea on the other side. There's a ghost cap going on at Nexus Secure and a ghost cap going on at Hydroponics. So that both teams are just throwing a couple people at the forward bases over here just to get offensive caps going.
Right. They really want to make sure they're sort of keeping it moving. They don't want to get stuck, and then have if they lose a fight, they don't want to all of a sudden be totally screwed. They want to have somewhere to go. I'm liking kind of this. Well, I guess he just abandoned it, but I'm liking the sort of mag rider on the hill shooting into B point. It's kind of an interesting strategy there. Good usage of the map terrain. Right, RCN6 holding the staircase well. We've got resonates coming out from BWAE. But they're not on point. Points on the roof on this one, so looks like BWAE is going to start pushing down these stairs, just kind of slowly whittling down the RCN6 forces.
Yeah, and the fact that BWAE still has this many sites in the air and is taking these points is impressive.
Totally. Turn that game sound a little bit here. RCN6 is not dying though. They're holding in this room. They're not leaving. But if they want to make progress, they've got to get on this point in the next. I mean, the timer is ticking down. BWAE has A and C solidly held. They've left people there to make sure they don't get ghost capped. And even though RCN6 manages to take back the B point and stay in this base, they're not being wiped out. They're still going to lose it to BWAE. BWAE is going to be taking Bitter Gorge and taking the first lead of the match.
Yep, it's 5-4 towards BWAE. Hydroponics is still being contested, though RNC is still coming hard here.
Looks like RCN6 doesn't want to give up, but they're, I think, going to get mostly wiped off of here. Scythes appear to have mostly won this air battle. Like I was saying, they're designating enough scythes to keep the Reavers off, but they're sending their extra scythes down to the ground to start dealing some hits, which is very smart indeed. What are we seeing over at Nexus Secure? Just gonna go through. BWAE on point here at Nexus Secure substation. I think that was just a resecure this then. Yeah, there was a bit of a ghost cap going on.
Yep, just a resecure. Interestingly enough, the RCN6 does have several Reavers over top of Hydroponics. I don't know if they're trying to make some kind of stand over there.
Over Hydroponics, let me see. Yeah, they've got some
more centrally, yeah, really high in the sky.
Yeah, they are. They've gone very high altitude up here. I think, yeah, they want to retain this air superiority. But I would say, at least right now, it looks like BWAE is really wanting to utilize their size optimally. We have one BWAE getting shot out of the air here, but then dropping down onto Hydroponics. Got a bit of a dervish here. It's a cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the reasons why it's always good to at least contest the air, because even though BWAE has air superiority, they're having to siphon off half or more of their sides just to deal with the Reavers that keep trying to arrest control back.
Yeah, totally. And we see BWAE, I mean, there is an RCN6 presence over here at Bitter Gorge. This is definitely sort of the biggest fight right now. But BWAE has just so much superiority in this entire region. I mean, they're covering this base. I guess RCN6 is getting beacons down and then sort of dropping back in. But this is going to be very hard for them to hold on.
Unfortunately for RCN6, BWAE actually has the back cap at Slate Canyon.
Yeah, they're going to have to leave here then ASAP. Let's head over there because that's definitely going to be the next big fight. Slate Canyon. Here we come. And BWAE, known for their point holds, is setting up in here. I have to say, lots of hitching. I don't know if you're getting this too, Prozan, but I don't think players are going to be super happy about that.
I'm getting quite a bit of hitching. Fortunately, I'm not streaming, but it's not helping you at all.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, still playable, I would say, but getting to the point where it's hard to say this is too competitive when there's a lot of these things. Hopefully, they get that fixed for at least the playoff matches when these things are going to start really mattering. So yeah, BWAE locked in this A point, but I'm not seeing lots of maxes. I haven't seen many maxes from either side. I've seen a couple, but not as many as I thought. Maybe they're sort of saving their nanites a little bit. Maybe they're a bit low on nanites after the scythe pull. It's kind of hard to say.
Side pulls and all the Reaver pulls and stuff like that. And you know, they're susceptible to orbital strikes.
Right, of course. Yeah, neither side has used much war assets yet, besides those couple of anvils. So we're definitely looking out for orbitals in the sort of second half of this. We see the Scythe just bombarding with the light PPA down onto these RCN6 infantry people who are trying to shelter out here, but it's rough. Taking some cover, they're trying to surround it. It looks like they actually pushed into the A point. Good on RCN6 for breaking the BWAE point hold here.
Yeah,
But
I think this is a
Sunday.
classic example of BWAE kind of stretching themselves a little too thin because they have a half a squad here, a half a squad there, and RCN6 was finally able to concentrate their forces to push them out of Slate Canyon.
For sure. But they do have this Sunday up here, which is, if it can stay up, looks like they're moving it now to be a little more secure. But if that stays up, they're going to be able to constantly resupply this point hold, which they have now resecured. Timer's ticking down.
Honestly, if BWAE can just kind of get their attention focused on Slate Canyon, there's offensive caps going at SATCOM. Hydroponics could be threatened next. Like, time is not on RCN6's side there.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty, so BWAE now looks like they're getting extra setup in here. They've got caltrops even on this doorway. RCN6 is sort of going for the same angle. They're trying to kind of come around here and go through the first floor, get into it's called like Cubby or something. But it's going to be a hard push. They've got to cross this bridge. They've got Burster Maxes up, which is smart. They're keeping that air away. Swatting the scythes.
You know, I think there might actually be more Reavers in the sky than Scythes at this point.
Yeah, no, true. RCN6 really wants that air domination. They really want it. We've got an incoming gal here from RCN6 coming over Slate Canyon. Here it comes. Full drop of Maxes, full squad, coming straight down on top of the point of Slate Canyon. They're going to go straight in here. But this caltrop it's blocking them up. They're having a hard time getting inside. They've got NGs, but we got Bolters here with his Max. This is going to be a hard one to breach. Oh, that caltrop on the door really slowed down those Maxes. Wow. And out goes some C4. C4 comes inside. The Max is down for BWAE. A minute left. This is enough time for RCN6 to get in here if they've got the spawns. BWAE is not giving up without a fight.
Yeah, RCN6, it does look like, had to split off what looks like a squad at least to SATCOM to stop the cap there, which is definitely hurting their numbers over at Slate Canyon.
Yeah, definitely. Here, I'll open up the minimap here. As you can see, it's pretty even over here, but a little bit more BWAE, and a little bit more BWAE goes a long way, we should say. It rhymes, so you know it's true. That's dropped from RCN6 while it was well coordinated was just not enough. They couldn't get through this door. I think they just didn't realize there was going to be so much this baby gate, or like barrier that is, and a caltrop on that door. Maybe coming into the bottom door would have been a bit of a better strategy. It's hard to say. Probably would have made them very susceptible to C4. And there goes the Burster Max. And it looks like they might be just abandoning ship here. Looks like RCN6 is just pulling off, unless they're coming in with two new gals. Here they come. Two new gals. That gal looked like it was about to run into the drops of the other gal, but here they go. They're going back in. They're trying one more time here. They got 6 seconds to get onto the point. BWAE just aiming at the door and holding left click, and they do take this base. So good try by RCN6, but BWAE does take yet another base and comes into a commanding lead in this.
Right as that cap ended, they started the cap at Hydroponics.
Efficiency for sure. And we'll see if they go for the Nexus. I don't know if that's necessarily the best move for BWAE at this point, but yeah, BWAE is on the full aggressive side now for sure. Take a look at Hydroponics.
It's pretty interesting here at Hydroponics. I came over here a couple of times, and the Psychological Warfare VS person has been here for a while, but they purposely did not start the cap until BWAE was done at Slate Canyon.
Right. They want to make sure those forces get here before the RCN6 does, and they have the Sunday set up here, probably from an anvil. Very, very smart. They want a strong spawn point that they can rely on, that they don't have to worry about. They have enough scythes in the air to keep the Reavers from targeting the Sunday that's over here. That I'm not going to spend too much time looking at that, just in case. I don't want to give that away, but there is a Sunday at this base, and BWAE is going to be using it to its full utility. Although A point being flipped, and a lightning coming out from RCN6, probably going to do some Sunday hunting. I think they know where it is. I think he knows where it is. Yep, he found it. So the lightning's going to start chipping away at that Sunday.
We got Twitch chat talking about BWAE being a Zerg fit confirmed. You got video evidence, people.
So true.
BWAE is everywhere on this map.
We do see more RCN6 here, but I see a lot of sites coming overhead on the minimap. Take a look at this. Yeah, big air battle happening. So I love the fact there is a constant air battle going on. We do not see what we've seen in lots of other matches where one team gets air, other team gives up and goes all in on the infantry, and then one of them sort of manages to take it, depending on how effectively the air is utilized. But this one, both sides are not giving up. They have clearly dedicated air squads.
You asked earlier where their nanites are going. This is where their nanites are going.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
It makes you wonder how many of these players on both teams are ASP. I would assume most, if not all of them.
Yeah, no, I definitely would think that's probably the case. All right, so this A point is flipping back and forth. RCN6 not giving it up without a fight. I mean, you got to hand it to RCN6. They are dealing damage to this BWAE hold. And if we look at the scores here on the scoreboard, actually, let me take a look at this. BWAE does have more kills, 574 to end RCN6's 343, but I mean, that's still an insane amount of kills. That is not a major gap, and we've seen bigger gaps and still a victory for the side with less kills. So.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, it's just BWAE has the initiative right now, and it's really hard for RCN6 to do anything other than just do minor defenses.
Right.
Sure, they defended hydroponics compound, but while that happened, BWAE overpopped and took Satcom Hub.
Yeah.
Which, who's to say which is the better win there?
Totally. And we see, RCN6 has these Reavers up here, but they're kind of just hovering outside of the warp gate because I think if they try to go any further in, they're just going to get swarmed by these sides and taken down. And these sides are kind of holding the line here over at hydroponics and not allowing BWAE or RCN6 to come back in with their air. But a fierce infantry fight going on in this point room here. Again, apologies for those hitches, everybody watching. That is not a stream thing. That is an in-game thing, unfortunately. Would be better if it was a stream thing. But that's just how these afterwards are going right now. Should be fixed relatively soon. They said they're working on it. We can pray. BWAE starting to push back through this bottom door. They're trying to get around their own caltrop, though. Looks like that was placed earlier and is now hindering them from getting in. Usage of caltrops. I like it. I haven't seen that yet. BWAE clears this top room, and they're going to now try to get down to this bottom room within the next 30 seconds. And looks like they're going to do it. They're going to push through here with a massive squad, probably multiple squads here, and get back on point. Start the cap again here on hydroponics. RCN6 forces pushing back in across the bridges here. What else do we got going on this map? Not much.
Not a ton, to be honest. There's some, both teams are pretty evenly split between the air, hydroponics, and Slate Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
So it does seem like hydroponics is amping up a bit.
Definitely. RCN6 takes back control of the top floor. I mean, they're really just rotating around each other at this point. They take back control. BWAE is trying to hold it. They're holding these stairs. They're holding the other side as well. They're trying to hold these entrances, but there might just be too many entry points for RCN6 and a couple too many RCN6 soldiers. Although it looks like a big group of RCN6 died trying to get in here. They're now just being sort of farmed. I see a lasher for BWAE. BWAE wins automatically. It's all over. Yeah, RCN6 is, they're trying, but they're really, they're hidden in a movable object here, which is a BWAE point hold in a building like this, where the coordination, the callouts of BWAE allows them to react to big pushes and prevent themselves from losing it all. So we got a beacon over here from RCN6. BWAE not letting it stand. Whew.
Yeah, these BWAE sites have control of the air again, and they're just kind of bouncing around between both bases. This is the problem of being contained down to 2 or even 1 base, is that the air cover has less and less that they need to worry about.
Right, totally.
Oh, and a cap has been started at Nexus Omega.
Oof. And that's going to be, that's going to be top priority, and we'll see. RCN6 drops such a massive group. Orbital coming in, however, from BWAE, that's going to be BWAE. Trying to stop it. They tried to push in. I don't think it worked. I think they had to run in too fast because of that orbital, and then BWAE was ready for them. Wow, quick reactions from BWAE, and I think that's... I mean, they've still got a minute 30 left on this, so it's not all over, but they might have to come back in from... might have to go and deal with the Nexus first. RCN6 putting up a fantastic fight, though, I have to say. Oof, these scythes.
Yeah, the scythes are a problem for sure.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, RCN6 has half of their population or more at Nexus Omega right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just don't want to lose that. I mean, ultimately, especially if you want to get lots of good qualifier points, the faster the match ends, the worse you're doing, right? So RCN6, they obviously would like a win, but if they can hold on to the Nexus and not get warp gated and get lots of qualifier points, that's going to help them out in the long run in terms of getting to the playoffs, getting that sweet banner border. And they're coming back in, they're going to take back the point on their own Nexus. Good for RCN6, holding on. Lots of maxes in here. And that is one orbital out from BWAE. It's the first orbital we've seen, and does mean RCN6 is a little bit higher on that asset.
Yeah, we'll see if we see any more orbitals. I'm not really sure, since there's not been a ton of maxes from either team, if orbitals are going to be that useful for this last fight.
Yeah, definitely. Some stuff in Yell chat about the lag. It's unfortunate. And yeah, see, I don't know about these RSN6 Reavers. They've got this dedicated Reaver squad, but the Reaver squad is not able to make any kind of push. So they're, I wouldn't say they're useless, but they're not really. I don't know if they're utilizing as best as they could. I don't know if they're really making much of a dent in the BWAE air.
What can you do though? Like, you can't just let the sides do whatever they want.
I know, yeah. I mean, it probably is holding off some of those sides from really being devastating. Look at these maxes from RCN6. Solid coordination, and clearly good nanite management here as well. Even though they lost that push with the other maxes earlier, they've still got enough nanites here. As a quick comment, the Aegis shield on the NC Max is so cool. I'm annoyed that we don't have something like that on VS. Alrighty. Ooh, BWAE pushing through now on the northwestern side of the Nexus. I'm assuming some Resonance are going to go out here. BWAE's great with their medics, you gotta say. They keep their push it going as long as there is a single one of them left alive. But RCN6, not giving it up without a fight, but it's hard. There's a lot of BWAE here now. There's 55% BWAE. Is RCN6 trying? They can't now. They have to secure this entirely for them to be able to start back caps.
Yep. That's the problem with the Nexus points, is that even if they don't take it, as long as that timer's going, they can't push out. If they can't push out, they can't win.
100%. There's 20 minutes left. I mean, there's still enough time, but I don't know if we've seen a comeback on this scale ever before be successful. I don't think I've seen anybody break out of their Nexus when it's their only base. It is now 8-1 for BWAE, and yeah, it can be very tricky.
Yeah, we got BWAE trying to stick more Sunderers in place. We got an Anvil coming down. Like, they're trying to make a home here so they can just keep the pressure on.
Yeah, totally. RCN6 really wants to get back on this, and they're not leaving the building. They're not going to get spawn camped here, or at least they're going to try not to. But already these sites just descending.
Yeah, it's like right when you said that, the sides just showed up in force.
And now we're seeing BWAE Sundays getting set up here as well. BWAE really, BWAE is not content to just sit there and let the tide slowly turn. BWAE wants to get set up here fully. They want to be here in force. We do have a little bit of RCN6 armor that's sort of peppering at some of that, so that's going to be good for RCN6. But yeah, this is going to be really hard now. As we've seen in previous matches, it's going to be really hard for RCN6 to get back to point. They're pulling vehicles though, looks like, and they've got 4 minutes 50. It's a long capture timer. That does lend them some options to regroup and to try and figure things out. But they're definitely struggling. They've got a solid hold now.
A comeback for sure is possible, but they're running out of time for
it. This person who asked in the chat, how can you see how much pop each side has? Yeah, you just see it on the top of the minimap there. Right now it's even. RCN6 I think brought whatever remaining forces they had over here, as did BWAE. So it's an even fight in terms of pop now, but I mean, once you get locked in on a point like that, even pop is sometimes not enough to break a point, you know, even on live. We do see an orbital coming out as well. The second orbital from BWAE, that's going to be their final orbital. Just hitting the spawn room. I think there's sort of a max crash building up that they spotted, so they wanted to sort of weaken that and slow it down. Not a ton of BWAE on point itself right now.
Yeah, it looked like when RCN6 had taken back the point briefly, they split off a squad or two to go sit on Slate Canyon and Hydroponics, but then when that didn't pan out, they had to come back to Nexus.
Ah, I see.
That's probably where that brief disparity in ratio came from, but now it's pretty much even.
Yeah, yeah. Got the Bolter's Max here, leading the charge.
Oh, and look at that Hill Citadel shield just came down.
Ooh. How the hell do I get out of here?
I assume that's just to give that Mag Rider in the side some cover.
We do see an RCN6 Sunday down here underneath the base that's allowing them to get to point from a different angle, which is really smart from them. And we see RCN6 kind of pushing back in here. They've got a strong force of maxes in here. They managed to get everybody in the building, and they're pushing. Oh my gosh. The fire coming from the other side of the room from BWAE is intense. They're pushing through a hailstorm of lasher spam. They've made progress, but can they breach into the room itself, especially now that BWAE knows they're here? We'll see. They've got 3 minutes to do it. The point is flickering, which is good. The timer's not counting down anymore. Lots of BWAE are going down. Looks like they maybe ran out of resnades. That's what happens if you're in a point room for too long. You don't have the resupply.
Yeah, those BWAE saws are hovering real low to try to help that point hold.
Very smart of RCN6, I have to say, to get the Sunday underneath so they don't have to deal with the sides at all. They can just come in from the underground. Really smart, and they get back on the point. Wow. Damn. What a hold. What a hold from RCN6. BWAE is obviously not going to just give it up that easy. They want this warp gate now.
Yeah, they just got a Sunder deployed on above the point on the ground floor.
Wow. Lots of nades going out. I mean, I think honestly, your res nade count is such a massive thing in the meta right now. It's like, if your medics run out of res nades on their grenade bandolier, it's rough. It's rough. But yeah, you're right. They've got the Sunday set up here, and you know, RCN6 seems like they really did. They decided, you know what, we're not going to be doing air anymore. It's not worth it. Get everybody on the ground onto point. BWAE back on point though. Oof.
Yeah, RCN6 looks like they have like one Skyguard under the safety of their warp gate, just kind of plinking away at the size, but otherwise, I think they have all their people fighting for that point.
Yeah. And BWAE does get back on point now with more maxes. They're now refreshed on their res nades. They did, RCN6 bought themselves some time. There's 3 minutes left on this cap now. And an orbital coming out from RCN6 to take out those maxes. Very smart. Very smart. There goes this scythe up into the air and gets alley-ooped by this lighting. And a second, they do double orbitals to absolutely crush these maxes. And now they're going to push out of spawn probably to try and get there. But there is still VS air. Oh my god. Is that a drop pod flying up into the air? It's gorgeous. Alright, but BWAE is still in this point. Oof.
Yeah, this is brutal fighting.
Oh my gosh. This is just a slugfest of nades of all kinds of nades. Res nades, frag nades, concussion nades. I'm sure half of these people are flashbanged right now.
Yeah, and RCN6 now has 2 Skyguards pushing up to try to keep those sides away from putting any light PPA down on those pushes.
Totally. RCN6 keeping their hold in this building alive. Really, I mean, I have to say, RCN6 dealing with the overwhelming BWAE air is doing a fantastic job. They're doing the right things, you know. It's whether they have enough to break a BWAE point hold is the real question, but it's not for lack of trying, it's not for lack of coordinating, it's not for lack of brain power, I'll say that. And we see these nades, you know, they're going to start running low. RCN6 seems to slowly be making progress here back towards the point with the maxes they have. Couple C4 go out in the middle of the RCN6 ranks there. That's going to be not optimal, to say the least. But here they go. They've breached into this side room here, which is huge. They can start pushing into the point room again. They've still got a minute.
Yeah, it's just hard to see a vector in place for RCN6.
Yeah.
Even if they take this back, they gotta wait out the entire defensive timer and then get on point at Slate Canyon and Hydroponics to maybe leverage a 5-4. Like they're running out of time for this. Oh, but they are back on point.
They are on point. I was about to say they are back on point. I am so impressed with RCN6 right now. I mean, breaking a point hold on even pop in a base like this against an outfit like BWAE is major. And now they've got to hold it, which has obviously been the real struggle. When BWAE comes pushing back in, do they have it for long enough? And it looks like already BWAE is swarming onto point. But still, goddamn.
Yeah, this was such a seesaw. Back and forth.
But each time BWAE gets a little bit more on that timer. And RCN6 has to hurry a little bit more to try to get back to point, and it's not easy. But there is not really maxes left here. Looks like nanites are running low. Maybe for both teams though. RCN6 not giving up.
Yeah, I think the air presence for both teams is at an all-time low just because they're just trying to get boots on the ground.
Yeah, totally. We see a bit of an air push coming from RCN6. Some new Reavers coming out here. Maybe they want to sort of see if they can seize the air in this last 50 seconds and use that to get themselves back into point one more time. But
yeah, this is like a half squadron more of Reavers.
Yeah,
pouncing while BWAE is weak.
Definitely. They want to go for it, which is smart. I mean, just brain plays. I love it. I love seeing smart people do smart things in PlanetSide. Goddamn.
Just in general, honestly, I like watching smart.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. But it's also in this game that we quite enjoy. There is unfortunately 20 seconds left on this point. Unfortunately for RCN6, of course. And
those Reavers have ejection seats because they need to get on that point.
Yeah, they do. They got 15 seconds until BWAE takes this and wins the match. BWAE, I mean, I don't know where the RCN6 push is going to come from, but it needs to come basically right now. If it's not coming through the door right now, it's already over, and I don't think it is. It's coming from this side. They're pushing in. They want to get here, but there's only a second left, and that is a victory for BWAE. Wow. GG's into the Yell chat from everybody. What a fantastic match, I have to say. Well done to both teams. What an impressive show. Holy moly. That was really something. I'm going to switch the scene over here. Post-match, we do have BWAE as our winner. Let me take this and move it all down. BWAE is your winner for today's match. GG's. We're now also, obviously we're going to be falling into Sanctuary here, but we're going to take an interview now from Bolters and Mr. Twister. Let's hop over into that GC Prozan and wait for them there. Let's see. Here we go. Alrighty. So, we're going to be waiting inside of this GC now for Bolters and Mr. Twister to show up. Looks like they're here. Amazing. You guys were quick. Holy moly. That was an intense match. Take a breather. God damn.
What a game.
What a game indeed. Congratulations, Dubness, Bolters, BWAE for the win, and huge GG to RCN6. Twister, what a hard-fought match with some very smart plays and pushing them off that point. Wow, very impressive. But let's get into some interview questions here. Let's see. Let's start off with Dubness here. What was the feeling going into this match on the BWAE side of things? What was the thinking? What was the feeling? What was the headspace? What were the tactics looking like in that opening move as well?
Yeah, so first of all, of course, GG's to RCN6. And the way we wanted to play was the way I said it to the guys is exactly how I said it. You know, people think about it in terms of championship teams and playoff level teams.
Hmm.
And we know RCN6 is most likely going to be a playoff level team.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully it was reflected in the map play about just how much respect I was going to give RCN6 in this match, which was a lot. Yes, okay, it ended in a warp gate. That happens. But, building up into the match, we knew it was going to be difficult. We knew it was going to be tough. And we knew we had to bring our A game, right? We wanted to really push ourselves, make sure we fix the mistakes against NCCR and VCATs. And the only way, we could do that is by really playing with a lot of respect for RCN6. And like I say, we took it very seriously. And yeah, that was the secret behind the success for us.
Totally. And same question over to you, Twister. How was the feeling going into this, especially with the training you guys have been doing? What kinds of things were you feeling in the opening?
We were really eager to prove ourselves to BWAE, and I appreciate the respect you guys gave us. That feels good. We did a lot of Jaeger practice. Some of our more skilled players were doing more like one-on-one practice with our, say lesser skilled players.
Nice.
We were practicing hard, and so we brought our best.
That's good. I mean, and it was on display. I mean, this was such a great match from you guys. Let's talk about some of the stuff that happened in the match. I saw a number of different things. I mean, the first thing we should talk about is the massive air balls from both sides coming out. And I guess we'll go again to Dubnus. What has the air game been like for BWAE in terms of the way you've been planning around it, the way you've been structuring the platoons, and how did you feel about the way it went inside of this match?
Yeah, the RCN6 strength was an unknown for us, really. I put in my little slide decks that RCN6 is solid air, so we knew we would bring, our kind of, like we knew we'd play a competitive air roster, and
Right.
look, at the end of the day, right? I don't know if anyone was able to catch a few of the minutes of Gobs versus Recursion, which started 30 minutes before our match. But while I was waiting in the Nexus to Warp Gate, I did watch.
Yeah.
And if you want to understand how important air control is in this format, that match tells you all you need to know. If anyone out there, considering we're on week 3, hopefully this wasn't the case. But if anyone out there was doubting how important air control and being able to counter air, right, in a comprehensive manner, if anyone doubted how important that would be in this format, which is very similar to Lane Smash, where air is crucial, look no further than that match.
Right.
Because that is how important air is.
Totally. And over to you, Twister. I mean, we've seen in some of your past matches that I was looking at big air balls coming out from the beginning, and you guys held a fantastic air presence this whole game. It did towards the end there. It saw that you guys were sort of redirecting resources to try and save the Nexus. But how did you feel about the way your air strategy coming into it? And is there anything you're thinking of tweaking, or are you thinking it was just sort of if we do the same thing but do it a little bit better, it'll come to a different result?
So I'm not sure yet. However, I did do something different with our airball this time. I specifically wanted to watch to see how many BWAE pilots were landing on the points, and I prioritized having the whole platoon fight in the air a little bit less because BWAE, you guys are known for really hardcore point holds, and I wanted to prevent you guys from getting on the points first. So we ditched our ESFs a little bit earlier, at least my squad did, than in our previous matches.
I gotcha. Makes sense. Before I continue on Prozan, you got any questions in mind?
I guess for just in general, like both teams seem to have like a lot of respect for each other. Like especially from the B-Way side, even when you all were maintaining the momentum and attacking like Slate and Hydroponics, I still saw you put like half squads back on your rear bases just to make sure the RCN6 didn't beat you on the punch and try to leapfrog over you. So did either team find it particularly hard to kind of like balance your numbers around and make sure that you had the appropriate amount on defense or looking out for back caps and stuff like that?
Go ahead, Dundas.
That's a tricky question in terms of you can't really answer it like with like a kind of straight answer. The only answer I can give you is experience. You know, the way it works, you can either do it two ways, right? The platoon leader tells each squad how many people are at each time, or you decentralize and let the squad leaders decide how many people are needed at each base, and do it that way, right? So if you have an experienced PL and inexperienced SLs, then you can centralize that. If you've got experienced squad leads as well, then you can decentralize that. It just comes down to experience, really.
Yeah, I feel similarly. A lot of our map movement is defined by the squad leads telling me when they're winning or losing at a base, and then I'll try to see what other squads are free to allocate to them. And
Right.
a lot of it is based on the squad leads feeding me. I don't necessarily spend a large amount of time looking at the map. It's based on mostly who's available.
Yeah, totally. Makes sense. Makes sense. And I guess I know there's going to be other interviews going on that people are definitely going to want to talk to you guys. So I want to just quickly get your thoughts on the other teams in the tournament besides you guys. We saw Gobs beat Recursion in their match today. And there's lots of other really strong teams out here that you guys are going to have to be facing up against inside of future matches. Both of you guys, because both of you guys are obviously doing very, very well in this tournament and are definitely favored to go to playoffs. So what teams are you not maybe looking out for, maybe a little bit worried about running into, or what are you feeling about the way the other teams are looking so far?
Well, Gob is a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I want to see the ISV Pigs match today. I want to see that too. I don't know if it's today, but
relevant for sure for you guys. Yeah.
Yes.
It's gonna be championship matches, no doubt.
I would say, yeah, obviously Gobs Recursion v Cats, right?
Yeah.
I had also Recon Team 6 before the tournament started, slated to be playoff level. Apart from that, there's like in the kind of the tier, so like championship teams, you've got Gobs Recursion, right, straight up there, VCats as well.
Yeah.
Playoffs, you've got people like RCN6, SKL maybe, right? I think people might be surprised. Midfit Company, 1TR versus Gota tomorrow will really be a good test of both teams, but I expect 1TR to win that, so 1TR to be in the playoffs probably as well. And then maybe 2RAF as well in the playoffs.
Right.
Depending on their like matchups and stuff. So yeah, there's plenty of teams on Emerald. Like I'd say Emerald has probably the most competitive, in terms of like the play.
Yeah.
Emerald probably has the most competitive kind of set of teams.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I think it's so far the matches have been great. Obviously, we've seen a couple blowouts, especially in the early days, but now, especially, I'm super looking forward to next week, and definitely looking forward to the playoffs when we're really going to see these tests go head to head. Obviously, I know you guys must be sort of gritting your teeth at the way that the hitches were happening during today's match.
Oh, it was brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
They have to fix it. You cannot have a. Look, I think obviously they released some patch notes earlier today, addressing the fact that they are still looking at it.
Right.
Look, if they don't look, I'm gonna be honest. If they don't fix it, I don't understand how you can have. If you want to have a competitive format, you cannot have this hitch going on.
Right.
It was happening on Miller earlier today as well. It was happening here on Emerald. For us, it was on the 22-second nanite tick for our match specifically.
Yeah.
So, if that helps the devs investigate, then please investigate that, because it just honestly it ruins the. Okay, maybe not ruins. That's a strong word.
but
It-
yeah, it
it-
definitely dampens
It degrades the integrity of the
Hey,
competition.
Right.
I wonder if it's related to the way resource gain used to happen on the old maps, because Nexus was probably around when that was created.
That's an interesting theory. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
a fair
they're
point.
looking into it. I agree. They need to fix it this week for the next week's matches, especially because, I mean, qualifiers, you can sort of say, you know what, hey, it's a bit of a testing run. It's just qualifiers, so, whatever. But especially when we get to the final rounds of qualifiers and playoffs, I mean, that is, for competitive
Yeah,
planet side, you can't
exactly.
have that. You can't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, GG's. If there's nothing else, we should probably
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just about to
give
say.
Archie a little bit of our time.
I'll let you guys go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in and interviewing you guys. And
Yeah,
GG's
thank
to
you.
both of you. Well done.
Yeah, no, thank you. I look forward to watching the VOD. Appreciate it.
Definitely. Have a good one, you guys.
See you soon, Dennis.
See ya.
Alrighty. Well, holy moly. Great guys, those two guys. Just great
Yep.
alpha leaders, yeah.
Great sportsmen.
Totally. Well, I will say, once again, big congratulations to BWAE, proving their strength in this Outfit Wars format, the way that they're coordinating, the way that they're moving, the way that they're organizing. But RCN6 did not go down without a fight. I mean, the way they got back on point, the way that they had the opening with the air, the way that they started out. I mean, RCN6 definitely held their own in this match, I would say. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, I honestly think that entire match was probably won in the air in the first couple minutes.
Yeah.
Because
Fair enough.
the B-Way sides of the B-Way galaxies were just a constant thorn in their side. And
Yeah.
B-Way basically maintained the momentum. They never really let RCN6 go on the attack again after the first, the initial couple minutes of fighting. And RCN6 tried their hearts out to do so.
Totally. Yeah, no, 100% agreed. And I think the effort showed by both teams. It was on display fully. Yeah, that air game we see time and time again. That's what's important. You win the air, you are in really good shape. But RCN6 was smart with the way that they dealt with it, the way that they redirected resources, the way that they got their Sundays set up in covered areas. So definitely well done to them as well, even after they had lost that air game.
Yep. It's a bit surprising to me because B-Way won that air clash. Like, it wasn't even just like they won with like 4 sides up. They won with a lot of stuff up, and then they reinforced it. And yeah, RCN6 has some great pilots, and I guess they just got really overwhelmed by the numbers and the quality.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. And I mean, but in terms of infantry, like, both sides were strong in infantry. It's a little bit hard to say really which side is maybe got the upper hand there, but I mean, they were both really good coordinated with their infantry movements, with the way that they were, rezzing their people and doing all this stuff.
There were multiple bases that were very back and forth as far as losing a point, gaining the point, losing a point, gaining the point.
Totally. And B-Way just managed to get a little longer on those points than RCN6 did. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching. This has been the BWAE versus RCN6 match. There is, I don't believe, any other matches going on. You can definitely go and check out Archie and other people who are going to continue on those interviews with Dubness Bolters and Twister. And definitely check out ps2alerts.com if you want to see any of the match details. Once again, thank you to Verunda for this lovely overlay. Also Zulfer and Phil's PS2 alerts for some of these decals and all that good stuff. Any other final words you got, Prozan, before I send us off here?
Nope, I think that's about it for me. It was a great match. I honestly thought it was going to come down to time, but it really just shows how much that air leverage can kind of get you into a victory, even if the teams are even.
Yeah, totally, 100%. Alrighty, well, thank you everybody so much for watching once again. Definitely tune in next week for these qualifiers, the final round of the qualifiers. It's going to be fantastic. And GG to both teams once again. All right, we'll catch you guys next week.